drones from 10 a.m. 10 to 11. In 11, we will take a short break because in 11 a.m. EICT will conduct one formal inauguration for all the 63 SDP around our nation. So we will take the break at the 11, and you please join that particular inaugural ceremony. I have already shared a mail for the SAM in the yesterday night. 11:30 we will again join, and we will complete our session from 12. From 1:30 a.m. Dr. Lalit will join from the BARC Bombay, and he will discuss the reliability analysis of the control system regarding the drone applications. Then 3:30 p.m. Dr. Santosh Vishwakarma from IIT Indore will introduce the Edge AI computing from the drone applications. This is the schedule for today. Tomorrow, Dr. Dharmendra Singh from the IIT Roorkee will start the session at 10:30, and he will discuss the smart drone application and the challenges. He is also coordinator for the drone center in IIT Roorkee. He is a very good speaker and good researcher. So, of course, you will learn a lot of things from the Dr. Dharmendra Singh. 1:30, Dr. Ankur Biohar will discuss the low power device circuit topology for enhance the drone efficiency. So your drone can be moved for the long time periods. At 3:30, Dr. Ajit Kumar from IIT Rams will discuss the aerodynamics parameter estimation using flight test data. Wednesday, the session will start from the Dr. Deepankar Dev. He is also he's a professor at IIT Ram, and he will discuss the distributed observed based backstepping control for the trail setter UAV. 1:30, we have the session with Dr. Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra is a renowned scientist, and he was ex-director of Space Applications Center, ISRO, and most probably he will discuss about the SAR, synthetic aperture radar. And 3:30 p.m., Dr. Ashok Joshi will discuss the introduction of Swan robotics. Thursday, Dr. Jagat Jyotirath will start the session with control and navigation from the drones, and Dr. Abhishek from IIT Kanpur will discuss the design, simulation, and manufacturing of the high-performance UAV. And the SAM Institute from IIT Kanpur, Dr. Mangal Kothari will discuss the autonomous control of the biplanar quadcopter on the Thursday last session. Friday, we will start with the squadron retired squadron Mohan K about the swarm drones. Then Jugal Pandey, he is a managing director of the Jet Access Unmanned Machines. So he's an industry. So last Friday is for the industry. So all the industry expert will discuss their experiences about the drone and the challenges which we have to be faced. 3:30 to 5 p.m. We will take your feedbacks. We will take a small test so that we will do the assessment of you, and then we will complete the session by the validity session. One thing, please note it down. All your 100% attendance is compulsory, and you have to be. This is a must that you have to feed the feedback. And one other thing is required. You have to be achieve at least 60% marks in your assessment test. So this is the one brief idea about this SDTP. I hope you will find this SDP more useful and more practical component you will find in this particular SDP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rawat. Is my voice audible?
Yes, Dr. Jagat.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Rawat. Now for the introduction, now we can begin the first session, which Dr. Rawat will be taking on design and development of drones. Before we start the session, let me just introduce Dr. Rawat. So Dr. Abhishek Rawat received his Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Communication from Rajiv Gandhi Technological University in Bhopal. He received his Master of Technology and PhD from Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology in Bhopal. Currently, he is an assistant professor at IIT Gujarat. He has 16 years of research, academic, and professional experience in different premier institutions in the country. Dr. Rawat is also a senior member of the IEEE and has published more than 50 articles in international journals, book chapters, national and international conference proceedings. He received the Young Scientist Award from MP Cost Bhopal in 2007, involved in the field trials of IRNSS receiver, and published 4 Indian patents. His research interests include navigation systems, satellite communication, and peripheral security. Currently, Dr. Rawat also serves as the coordinator of the Drone Center at IDSR. Sir, if you now can begin the talk. I now formally ask you to begin the talks.
Dr. Jagat, please confirm my screen is visible.
Sir, yes, it's visible, but it's not full screen. Full screen.
Yeah.
So if you could enter the full screen mode, then it would be better.
Is it fine? No.
No, sir, not yet.
Still, it is not full screen.
No, sir,
No,
I am
sir.
not able. I don't think it's full screen, sir.
Just a moment, I will share my whole of the window then. I hope now it's fine.
Yes, sir.
sir.
Now it's fine. You can begin, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jagat. So today, this particular SDP, we will start with the design analysis of the drone and the regulation. Because both the things are very important. We will try to start from the ground level, what exactly the drone is and how we have to be connect different type of components to make the drones. So basically, drone what this comes out, which is UAV, and UAV is nothing but unmanned aerial vehicles. So in UAV or unmanned aerial vehicles, it is just like a plane or aircraft which don't have any type of pilots, crew, or the passengers. And UAV basically is a part of US, that means unmanned aerial systems, that is going to be connected with some kind of the human operator in the remote areas. And more generally, we will use one other terms that is called RPA, that is known as the remotely pilot aircraft. So RPA or UAV or drones, we have various degree of autonomy, such as autopilot assistance. We can there is no we can make whole of the your movement autonomous and all these things. But for all these type of things, we have to follow certain type of regulations. Right now, the government of India also enforce some rules and regulation under the DGCA. Of course, in Feb or March, they have declared the new regulation, but still they are in the process to be changed out because some of the industry thinks it's one of the very tough. Basically, UAV was already developed in the 20th century for the military operation, in which it's very dangerous to send the human persons. It may be dirty, it may be very risky areas. So some unmanned flights is going to be planned over there, but that particular times we don't have sophisticated control technologies. So right now, these sophisticated control technologies improve all this flight and all these movements and reduce the cost at all. So right now, these particular drones getting attention from last 10 to 15 years. Now the term RPS. RPS is the remotely piloted aircraft. So please note it down. This RPS terms generally we will use for the official language, official term for the drones. Whenever you will go for the registration of your drone in the DG Sky or any government approval. So instead of drone, they will use the RPS. So it is basically the remotely piloted aircraft. Of course, this particular RPS can also be work as an autonomous aircraft, or you can also make some kind of the model of the aircraft with the simulation and you will test it out each and everything. So when we talk about the UAV have the 4 basic categories. This particular category, you will also find some difference from one area to the different area. This is the general category for the UAV. So this particular UAV category will be valid for the fixed wing and drone, both type of applications. So for the fixed wings, we have a very small UAV. Consider if its weight is 250 grams to the 2 kg. Small if you have the 2 kg to 25 kg, and medium if you have. Hello, my audio is not properly audible.
It's audible, sir.
It's audible only, sir.
We have got the message from 2-3% that audio is not okay.
I think maybe they're having an issue
Dr.
on
Gautam,
network.
yeah, Dr. Gautam, maybe it's the issue with you.
Sir, your audio is audible and your presentation is also visible. I think some people are having.
I think Dr. Gautam, please check this. This may be problem from your side. Thank you. So again, I have moving back to my presentation. So these are the 4 categories: very small, medium, and large. So large, if we have the 150 kg. Yes.
Sir, if you may please make it full screen, sir.
Okay. Just a minute. I hope now it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Now, when we classify the drones, we have the single rotor, multi-rotor, fixed wing drones, fixed wing hybrid drones, small, micro, tactic drone, and the reconstructed drone. I think last two categories is little bit not known to you, but rest of the category you are familiar. The fixed wing hybrid drone, we also use some kind of the engines and wings over there. And the tactic drone, we have to be developed for some futuristic applications, especially for the defense services. And reconsistent drone generally we will use for the military application for the survey areas, for the purpose of survey. So now, before to go in depth about the drone, we should just come to know the anatomy of the drones. So in any drones, we have some few compulsory components, and some of the sensor you have to be added up or you may be removed depending on your applications. The first important component is its frames. Your frame will be of different size. We will discuss this particular all these components later on in detail. The second is motor. We will use the BLDC motor. The third and the most important component is the ESC, electronic speed controller, then flight controller, which is the just brain of your drones. Then we have the propellers, radio transmitter. Then we need the battery, electronics, power distribution cable, and of course the cameras. Okay. Now this is the one circuit connection. In this circuit connection, you can find it out. 4 BLDC motor is connected with the ESC, and ESC getting the power from the battery, and battery. And all this ESC is also going to be connected with the controller and the receiver. And this is the one simple block diagram. So basically, a flight controller is you can say the brain of your drones. It will get the instruction from the RC receiver, and it will give the instruction in terms of the PWM to the ESC, and ESC will run this particular BLDC motor. You can use the LiDAR, Raspberry Pi, and camera for some other kind of different applications. This is the frame. So frame, basically the man body of your drones. It is generally we will come with the X symbol design, but it is not always mandatory. If you're interested to carry the more heavy loads, then you will take the Ardocopter Hexa suitable type of frames, and you will also take the octoquarter stable type of things. In the last one, I think my cursor is visible. Please acknowledge my cursor is visible. Yeah. So in this last one, we will use the 2 motors. So suppose you need a very high speed, then you will add it up to back-to-back motors over here. So of course the frame you may be we will prefer from the carbon fiber or generally, but carbon fiber is costly, so we will use the plastic materials over there. The second is the propeller. Of course your motor is directly to be attached with the propeller, so this particular propellers will transform your rotation motor of motion of your motor to the linear thrust. Your dimension of your propeller will define how much thrust you will get it up from this thing. So if you need more heavy thrust, then you have to be design your own propellers. Right now in market we have the glass fiber of 3 inch, 3 to 7 inch, 8 inches, or 11, 8 to 10 inch, or 11 inches. So in different categories you have, but generally we will prefer the carbon fiber propeller for the long run. Third and the most important part of your drones is the brushless motors. Generally, this particular brushless motors we have used right now. Every drone is using this brushless motors. Okay, the reason behind is that it is very efficient, it is very reliable, and generally the most of the drone operator is not design their own motor. They will just take it up over here, but the drone motors, brushless motor which is available, which will use in the drone, is very efficient, and so it will save the battery life, because in drone we have to totally depend on the battery. So if your motor will be efficient, of course you will get the more flying time. So this particular motor is also responsible for spinning your probes, of course, and provide the enough thrust to fly. One other important thing is how you will check it out, the health monitoring of your motor. So whenever you will work on the drones, you will always keep focus on the sound of your brushless motor. When you will find some sound is going to be changes out, then you will again have to be check it up, and mostly I will prefer you will change this particular motor. Otherwise, maybe it may be work it out. And most important thing, you have to be keep it free from the dirt, debris, and so on. Of course, some of the brushless motor is also having with the covers, but they are very costly. So just try to be keep it away from the dust and debris or all these things. One other important thing is that always keep focus on the type of sound and spinning, especially during the flights. Second most important component of your drones is ESC, electronic speed controller. This is the most essential components without which your quadcopter will not be flying. Generally, it is offer the very high power, high frequency, and high resolution three-phase AC power to the motor. Okay, and basically it is one kind of the electronic circuit with used to vary with the electronics motor speed, because you have to be keep it stable. Different type of sensors give the input to your controller. So this particular ESC get the input in term of PWM from your controller, and it will change the power in such a way that the motor speed is going to be controlled. Now, the most important thing is ESC. Generally, we will keep it just connected in the back side of your drones. And generally, we will prefer directly purchase the ESC, but some of the companies, just like a DJI 3DR or the Parrot, they develop their own ESC. So that is why their drone is more stable as compared of our drones which we have used. So generally, if you are going for the research, then you can also work on the specially developed kit for the ESC for the different operational control. Now, the brain of your drone is the flight controller. Okay, so right now I have showing here the picture of the Pixoft flight controller. We are using this particular controller in our lab since 2-3 years, and we will find it is very reliable. Generally, when you purchase the drones from the DJI and other things, you don't have much knowledge about the drones, and you have to be totally depend on their design. So I will prefer that you have to make their own drones. Okay, so Pixoft is I think Pixoft is one German startup, and it is one of the very reliable and flight controller, and it is also very cheap. So basically, this flight controller interpreted the inputs from the receiver, GPS modules, battery, IMU, and other onboard sensors, and it helped to regulate the motor speed by ESC and provide the steering as well as the triggering of the camera and other payloads. Okay, it also control the autopilots, waypoints, in which particular points you have to be follow when your drone is flying, follow me, fail-safe, and many other autonomous function. It is going to be controlled with the help of controller. Right now, we have a different type of flight controller. Of course, Pixoft is there. Happy Power KK 2.1 is also there. DJI NASA is also over there. It's also good controller. New Pixoft PX4 2.4.6 is there. LHI Pro Facings is there. Tube Labs is there, and Orange is the newcomers on this particular families. The next is the battery. Battery is always one of the very crucial element of your drones, because battery is define how much your drone will be flying. Okay, so 99% time we will follow the lithium polymer batteries, and this is the 2, 3, and 4S battery configuration. And in 2, 3, and 4S battery configuration means how much shell you are going to be used. Right now, we are using 4S batteries, because in 4S battery we will get a high voltage power over here, and it is more reliable over here. Of course, 5S and 6S batteries is also available in the market right now, but in the current time they are used for a very specialized application, so we are not used over here. So battery efficiency is one of the very important things, and battery health monitoring is also one of the very important things. This is a lithium polymer battery, so whenever some of the times it happened with us even in the lab during the flight, the battery is run out. Okay, so you cannot be decompose the batteries over here. This is a lithium polymer battery, so you have to be decomposed in the ground, at least 4 or 5 feet you have to be dig the grounds, and then you have to be decompose all these batteries. Generally 5 to 10,000 mAh battery you can use for the your drone application, depending on your flight times. This is the power distribution board. It is analogous to the power conditioners which we have used in the satellites. Basically, power distribution is one of the very important components of the drones, which make sure that that your different sensors, controller, and all this get the power on one particular impedance level. I think you are familiar with the superposition theorems. Sorry, maximum power transfer theorem. So every sensors and elements have different input impedance. So this is the duty of the power distribution board. They have to be matched this different input impedance of different devices. And this particular power distribution board will be nice, then the life of your sensors and your controller will be more. Then the receiver is just one kind of the sensor which collect the information from the external source and pass to the flight controller. Okay, it is one of the very important things which consists of the antenna which make the audio signal processing, and it will also give the information and control the pitch roll, throttle, and yaw with the help of 4 different channels. Generally, many receivers have the auxiliary channels for performing certain function or triggering flight modes, but generally 5 to 6 channel devices are recommended over here. Cameras, it is not necessary you have to mount the cameras, but of course in the most of the times we will prefer the cameras, because camera we will get some information, and some of the times for some crucial flight which we will discuss the later on, the camera will be very helpful to decide your path planning when you're going for the long flights. In camera, of course you can take the picture, but in the camera you can also use the FPV, that is the first person view flying. That means some of the time it's possible that some of the areas you will not get the GPS signals. GPS signals is blocked, so first person view of the flight, your GPS is not working properly. So FPV based flying you can also do. You can find it out the waypoint with the help of FPV. Of course, you have to be connect your camera with the help of gimbal for the better video and the picture transmission, and some of the time FTP Googles is also going to be available. Now GPS modules. I think all of you familiar with the GPS. GPS is the global positioning system. GPS basically it's American systems. GPS provide 2 type of services. One for the civilian services we all get over here in our mobile and our sensors, and other for the military services. Of course, we are getting the degraded signals, but it is still better in some of the ways. Right now, the GPS is using 24 satellites all over the globe. So whenever you will see at least 12 satellites over here to give us the navigation data. So generally, GPS receiver at the magnetometer provide the latitude, longitude, elevation, and compass will help you the heading for the single device. So with right now, whatever the flying of the drone is quite very easy. The GPS play a very important role, because with the help of GPS, your waypoints you can easily define, and go back to home commands can also be implemented very easily. So right now, GPS is not only the system which you can use on the drones. Most of the many drones is also using the GLONASS. GLONASS is a one analogous device, just like a GPS. It is from the Russia. So some of the military applications, UAVs using the GLONASS. Okay. Then Baidu Chinese is over here, but that particular is not available till yet. IRNSS is the newcomer for the navigation system. Right now, we are involved. We are also involved in the field trial of IRNSS. So we have this particular devices. So right now we are also in the process to be check the performance of IRNSS as compared to the GPS. So after 2 or 3 years, you will also get a small module of the IRNSS. Of course, the IRNSS will be more reliable than the GPS, because in 1999 war, we have seen that every time we cannot be rely on the GPS, especially when your mission is very important. Then of course you need some and if your mission is of the national importance, then we have to be rely for the IRNSS. Right now the IRNSS have been commissioned and it is available over here. Galileo is also one kind of the navigation modules, but it is generally as per my information, is not available over here, but in European country and the fighter plane, this particular Galileo software is going to be implemented. So IRNSS generally work on the two bands, L5 band and S band. Out of these two bands, only L5 band will be available for the drone applications, and it will be provide the more accuracy as compared to the GPS. In future, GNSS will also become. I think all of you familiar. Anyone have listened the name of GNSS? GNSS. Actually, GNSS is a global navigation satellite system for the civilian application. All this navigation modules share their own navigation data. Suppose right now in Ahmedabad, GPS 10 satellite is available. So that particular data, if you combine with the 6 satellite available of IRNSS, then you will total have the 10 or more satellites. Then your navigation accuracy will be more. And that is why every time we will prefer for the GNSS, but GNSS receiver is not now available for the drone application. Of course, the fighter aircraft or some civilian aircraft, this GNSS is going to be implemented. But I'm very sure in 6 months or a year, this particular GNSS receiver will also be there. So for more accurate operation, you can prefer this particular signals. This is the spectrum, so you can find we will only work on the L5 and S band, so you can find the importance of the spectrums over here. Now the gimbal. Gimbal is one of the very important devices which provide the connectivity to your cameras, to your drones, and it can be rotated in the X, Y, and Z direction. And basically, it used to provide the stability, okay, and pointing the camera and other sensor in a particular points, because your drone is flying, there is a air pressure, vibration will be there. So even you have a very good camera, it is not possible you can take a very good picture without the gimbal. So one other problem you may face in the gimbal is known as the jello effect, because some vibration will be there, and because of vibration your photo may be distorted. So then what you have to do, you have to just change that gimbal dampers. Okay, so generally when you go for a multiple flights, so this particular things going to be happen. Any problem? Hello? Some person have
No, sir.
yes, please. Hello?
Sir, I don't think there is any issue.
No, okay. Okay. Now the transmitting and the receiving modules. In the transmitting and receiving modules, generally we have two type of transmitter. One is a small, in which you can directly change the throttle positions, and you can just lift and keep it down. But that particular transmitter have their own limitations. This particular transmitter generally most of the drones is used. But in this transmitter, we have the one biggest problem is that even from 5 to 10 meter, your efficiency will be around 50%. So most of the times we have feel the problem when we fly with the help of this type of transmitter. The controlling is not going to be very easy. So generally we will control our drones with the help of mission planner. So what we have to do, we have connect your PC. We have installed your mission planner on your Jatin. Mr. Jatin, please unmute all the persons. Okay. Mr. Jatin, mute all the participants. Mute all the participants. So basically, whenever we will connect through the wireless system through your PCs, through the mission planner, then things are quite very easy, because we can move with the help of waypoints, with the help of GPS. And I will tell you, if your ground is not very safe, generally when you go for the testing of your drones, of course I will discuss the regulation in detail, but most of the times I will prefer you need at least half kilometers very clean areas. Otherwise your drone, and if your airflow is changes, then maybe your drone maybe get crashes out. Even some of the very experts is also told we cannot be predict the movement of the drone. So always keep the free space over here. Okay, and if you don't have the free space, I will recommend you will only go through the mission planner or some other type of controls. So this is the PX4 controlling modules, and in this PX4 controlling modules, this is your controller, these are your BLDC motor, these are the propellers, and this is your power distribution boards, receiver modules. Okay, and you can parallelly connect it your telemetry with your laptop, your mobile, or you can connect with your some kind of the transmitting and receiving module. This is your GPS, and of course some kind of the buzzer and the light we have to be put it up over here, and all these things is feed the power from the lithium polymer batteries. Now I will show you one small video for the assembly of your drones. So to assemble the drones, we need the motor, propellers, flight controller, GPS, ESC. We have just discussed right now. So this is the one control assembled drones in our labs. You will find it up at D-1. We have write it down over here. This is the number assigned by our drones by the DGCA. Every drone you must be assigned on the DGCA portals. That is the DG Sky. And if you fly without registration of your drone, without the registration of your identity, okay, and even if you fly after registration, you also have to inform to the local police station 24 hours before. Even on you don't have the nano drones, okay. If you don't do, you may get the prison of 6 months or 50,000 rupees of the fine. So be very careful when you fly the drones. Now this is the one assembly. Please find. They are assembling the BLDC motor. This is ESC. During the flight, a lot of vibration will be there. So this type of tapping we have to do. This is a telemetry one connection. Generally, two telemetry we can going to be connected, one from your PC and one from your receiver. This is a 4 ESC connection to the PICSOC. Okay, so after this particular assembly, I think things are fine. One question is raised by one person that we can be programmed. Of course, we can connect the Raspberry Pi and we can connect the Raspberry Pi with the LiDAR and camera, and some kind of the coding planning will do it. That particular things we will do it. This is for the, of course, even the planning is one of the very important tasks. We will discuss the planning parts in later on, but of course we can do the planning. Now, after the calibration, calibration will be required once we have, I think, a connection will be very clear with this particular video. So after the assembly, we have to go for the calibration. Clear vision, we will prefer mission planner, so it will be more accurate. Generally, with the telemetry, we can also do, but it is not very accurate over there. One other important thing with the mission planner is that very less power consumptions will be there as compared to your trans receivers. And generally efficiency and the takeoff and the landing will be more smooth than the mission planners over here. So we will prefer the mission planner over here. So generally mission planner is a part of the Arduino Pilot. So basically the Arduino Pilot is one kind of full features, reliable open source software modules, and this particular modules using the plenty of the applications, not only for the drone, UAV, some of kind of autonomous robots. This particular type of things it is using. It is also capable to control each and every vehicle, even VTOL airplanes, vertical takeoff and land aircraft. It is also going to be used. And this particular autopilots is a large number of institutions is using, such as NASA, Intel, Boeing's, and all this. All they are using the autopilots. It is deeply tested and the trusted autopilot system. So I will also prefer you will do it. And some of the person who is told that can we go to programs, of course, with the help of autopilots, you will get some kind of liberty that you can also programs with your own. Even when you go for the some specific mission, of course, you have to go for the your this particular type of codings. This is the mission planner. Okay, so mission planner is one full features ground station application for the autopilot open source. So whenever you install, you will find this particular type of window. So in mission planner, you can plan your mission. You can take all the data over here on the single window, and it is very accurate. So I will recommend that whenever you will start working, you will prefer the mission planner first till yet you are not get your drone flying license and all these things, then you will prefer over here. So this is the front view of the mission planner. So basically is a one kind of the ground control station for the your drones. It can also be control the plane, copter, and the rovers. It is compatible with the Windows only. Okay, so mission planner can be configured using the dynamic control supplements over here. What you have to do first, you have to load the firmware, then you have to set up, configure, and tune the vehicle for the optimum performance. Okay. So with the help of this particular mission planner, you can monitor your vehicle's status. You can record the telemetries. You can view, analyze the telemetry log, and you can operate the vehicle in FPV modes over there. So basically, mission planner is created by the Michael O'Brien, which have these 6 basic features. The first is you can mission planner, you can point and click waypoints. Whenever you will start the mission planner, I will also show you one video after the innovation function, then you can find it out. The mission planner, whenever you will when you connect your system with the mission planner, you will get the GPS location, and you will just find the Google map. So in Google map, you will just click the waypoints, fans, or the rally points in tree, and you can make your waypoints. Then you can simply select mission commands from the drop down. You don't have to write it down the codes and all these things. You can direct the mission log files and directly write it up over here. You can configure the autopilot setting directly to your vehicles. You can interface with the PC flight simulators and create full software and UAV simulators. So a lot of things you can do with the help of mission planner. So in mission planner, first you have to be connect mission planner to the autopilots, and then you have to load the firmware. Generally, first in mission planner, what you have to do, you have to connect your drones with your mission planner. So what we have to do in mission planner boards, you will find first is COM ports. I think so here you can find it out the ports. So whenever you will connect your telemetries, and you will find one ports over here, and you will just put it up 1152000 baud rate, and you will going to be get connected with your planner. Okay. Once it is going to be planned, you have to go for the setup, and then you have to be set up. You have to find it out which particular device you are going to be connected. We are using the Autocopter, so you have to get it selected over here, and then you can go ahead. Once you have got the setup and initialization, then you can do all of the things. You can go for the auto grid mode. That means you can just put it up the grid module, so your drone will be follow all these particular grid modules and take the pictures or the data in all these particular grid modules. So with the help of mission planner, you can generate the auto waypoint grid modes. Okay, so simply you have to give a line, and you can select the auto waypoint grid mode, and you will find it up all these particular type of things. The second is the waypoint rising. So in waypoint rising, here you can decide it what in your Google map you can find it out your homes. Then you have to give your waypoint, so your drone will go through the waypoints and it will be returned back. So right now here you can find it out. The first is takeoff, second is waypoint, third is waypoint, and last one will be your landings. So generally, with the help of that, you can give the predefined path, so your drone will be fly the predefined path and return back safely. So whenever you will go for a mission planner flight plan, then the three important thing is the upper lift corner, right lift corner, and the button. All these three things will be give you the very important data. The upper lift corner display the distance from the home. You can know how much distance from your point to your drone. The right side display the waypoint of the mission, so you can just see the waypoint of your mission. Okay. Third is the bottom. You can see the latitude and longitude of your drone. So with the help of you can easily keep control and keep visualize where your drone is moving right now. So before fly of your vehicles or the drone, you must follow some of your steps. The first is you have to go for the calibration. In calibration, first calibration is acceleration meter calibration, then compass calibration, then radio calibration, servo ESC calibration, and some other optional hardware. If you are going to be connected, you have to be calibrated before your movements. Generally, this particular Arduino pilots or mission planner is working on the Mavlink protocols. Okay, somebody is asking me for can be programming here. Of course, you can do it. Even the Mavlink protocol give you some kind of the liberty for the programming. Okay, so you can write it down your own codes and you can implement over here. So I'm not going in depth about the Mavlink protocols, but this particular Mavlink protocol, some commands is already over here. Some things you can already write, so you can write it down your own codes. Some different type of commands will be there in Mavlink. You have to be used. So this particular commands right now, all this command already inbuilt in the mission planner. But if you want to be set there on or customize your own drones application, then you can type these particular commands, and you can also make their own functions over there. Now, the one other important thing is the camera control of the automation. Some of the times it's possible that your GPS is not working. Then you can, of course, control your mission with the help of cameras. You know, some of the important positions GPS is disabled, and if you somebody want to be assigned their own modules, then of course you need the camera controlled automation. So instead of the GPS, you have to be rely on the camera control. So camera control, camera will be specified. Of course, your camera should be mounted on the gimbal because very accurate pictures should be over here. You need mission planner depending on the different photographies. You should know the some kind of the waypoints. So whenever your drones will be there, your camera will take the picture. It will check from the database, and it can be identify yes, he is on the right path or on the wrong path. So geotagging images based your mission planning, generally using the camera messages from the data flash log or the timer. From this particular picture.
Yes, sir. Sir, Jagat here. Sir, if I may say, sir, we can stop here so that the participants have time to switch on to the other meeting. It's 10:55 now.
Okay. I just completed a minute. I just completed a minute. So this is the one figure points in which we have decided the time stepping and as well as photo. So if your GPS is not working, depending on the photo and a different particular angle and the time span, your camera, first you have to make the survey of this particular areas, and after that, without GPS, your camera can be flow over here. Okay, thank you everyone. Right now we have to join in inaugural ceremony of EICT. So please, all of you join with the YouTubes. Dr. Jagat and myself will be connect from the other channels. 11:30, I will continue my session. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, and for the participants as well, regarding the questions, everybody can send their questions in the chat, or after Professor Rawat finishes his talk, you can ask the questions. In the chat, when everybody is sending questions, please send it to everyone so that all participants can go through the questions and they can interact. Now we can move on.
Good idea. Yeah. Please write it down your question on the chat, and I will take one by one all question at the end of my session.
And after and participants who are interested to ask also, they can ask after the session ends.
Of course, because the number of participants is quite too high, so it's better you please write it down so I can try to be take the
most. Now I think yes, sir. Now we can switch to the other one. We will revert back at 11:30 to this session back again.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Please join the session, inaugural session for the AICT, and we will come back at 11:30. So hello everyone. So we are starting where we have left the last time before the inauguration. Please confirm, Dr. Jagat, my screen is visible.
Sir, I think it's that. Yes, sir, it's visible now.
So with the help of time span and with the help of your photographies, if you make the survey of a particular location, even without the GPS, your drones can be communicate and move from one point to the other points. So in Mission Planner, lots of features will be there. We can connect. So some Windows icons will be there. Connect data, plan, setup, configuration, and simulation and help. Some of the person is tolling, sir, can we see the calibration? So we have prepared one small video. So after the question answer session, this particular video will be run. So you can find it in detail. If you requires, I will further in another sessions, I will just create because calibration takes long times. So generally what we have to do, first you have to be connect the mission planner with the telemetries. When we are going to be get connected, okay, then you have to go for the setups. And setup you have to be go for the calibration, and after the calibration you have to go for the plan, and in plan you can do it. In data you can some kind of the telemetry, other and different type of data you can collect during the flight times. So this is one display you can find over here in mission planner, and in this mission planner, this is the number 1 here. You can find the speed. Number 2 is the cross strict error. 3 is the heading direction. 4 is bank angle. So all the important data you can find it up over here. I'm just also trying to be show you the screen of your mission planner over here. So with this particular screen, you can find it out. All this data is over here. Right now, we are connecting it with our. Also, once all these things is going to be connected, you can do it. Because of limitation of time, we cannot be go in depth over here. Of course, one video I will run after the question answer sessions. So this is all about the drones, but the most important things is the regulation. Which particular regulation we have to be follow last. In the last few weeks, we have seen some of the drones are introducing in the army establishment, and even before that, the drone is also very dangerous, because if your drones is come in the routine flight routing of the commercial aircraft, it may be a disaster. So rules regulation must be there. In US and European countries, we already have very strict rules and regulation, but right now in India, the first rule regulation is implemented very strictly in March 2021 by the DGCA, by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So right now, the no license or permit is needed only for the 250 grams drones. Okay, but it should not be very near to the defense establishment or the aircrafts. If the weight is more than 250 grams, then you have to follow the guidance and the registration on the digital sky portals. This is the link for the digital sky portal. So once you have the drones, generally 250 gram is a very small areas. Most of the drones which can go for the long way is more than 250 grams. So you have to be register your drones on this particular DG Sky portals. So this is the 5 categories described by the DGCA. The first is the nano up to the 250 grams. The second is micro 250 to 2 grams. The most of your drones comes over here. Then the small 2 grams to 25 grams. We have put it up some cameras and some other sensors than this over here. Then the medium and large drone is up to the 150 kilograms and more than 150 kilograms. So what we have to take first, if you want to be operate the RPA or the drones, then first you have to be take the permission for the import clearance from the from the DGCA. Right now, if your drone is small, then no import clearance will be required. Then you can take the UIN number, and insurance you also have to be take it up right now with the new regulation. Then you have to take the license. Then you need the Ministry of Home Affairs, you need the security clearance, Ministry of Defense, you need the permission for the aerial survey. Please note it down, without the permission of Ministry of Defense, you cannot be do the aerial survey. Okay, Air Force, you need the permission for the monitoring and the RPA movement inside the countries. Wireless planning and the coordination being, you need the equipment type approval and the license for the RP. Bureau of the Civil Aviation and Security, you need the security approval for the security programs. Airport Authority, you can need the flight plan approval, monitoring of RPA movement of the country. And the local police station, of course, in 24 hours before you have to be intimate over here. But these particular things, and most of the things is not applicable. It is in the nano or the micro. For upper cases, all this requirement will be there. So one thing is, please note it down, always nano, you have to be fly less than 50 feet. You cannot be fly the nano for the more than 50 feet, okay, as per the regulation. And micro, you cannot be go more than 200 feet, okay. So whenever you will start the flying, first you have to learn the RPS, which you have registered, okay. So first you have to go for the registration, whether it's a nano or micro. Sorry, for the micro nano, it's not need the registration. It's just like a toy type, and it even cannot fly for a very long distance. You need the registration operator, okay. You need the documentation. You also need the UIN, just like your car. In car, you have to go for the license number for the car. Then right now, you also need the number of the UI, unique identification number. In the video, you can find it out. D-4 is the UIN number for drones in our labs. We have get it up. Then what you have to do, you have to obtain UAOP, unmanned aircraft operator permits. We also taken up this thing. So whenever before boardings, you need all these things. Pre-flight, you have to be submit your flight chart 24 hours before. Okay, and you also upload the permission or the RPRC. During flight, you have to receive the TRP, temporary flight restrictions, and you have to follow it. And the post-flight, you have to upload the data logs, maintain logbook, and the flight occurrence over here. Right now, we are using NP-NT devices, no permission, no takeoff over here. So no permission, no takeoff. Whenever you will not get the approval for the DG portal, even your aircraft will not be flying. So NP-NT compliance is a must for high category drones. Okay, so Nano is a very less, no license, no permission, but it cannot be fly for much. It's just like a toy. For micro, we need the UAOP 1 permissions over there. Medium and the large drones, you need the UAOP 2 permissions over here. Simply always keep your drones less than 120 meters, because above that your flights, commercial flights, will be follow. The second thing, if you are the learner, you don't keep your drones beyond your line of sight. Okay, and you keep remember that you are responsible for your drone. Anything's loss will be there. Criminal cases can be filed over here. Even you have to take the some kind of insurance over here. So this particular things is also comes under regulation. So my advice is that whenever you fly the drone, please be very careful for all these things. So no permission, no takeoff drone. It is one kind of modules. So when it is, it must be put it up on the medium and large drones. So without it, you will not be get it up flight permissions over here. Okay, go one of the commands we can put it up over here, the return to home. So it can be work it out, the smart return to home, low battery, fall safe. So suppose you have go out of the transmission line, batteries goes low. So in that particular condition, you're automatically return back to your home site. Obstacle detection, we can also put it up some kind of the sensors, different type of sensors, so that some kind of the obstacle in the middle of your path can be detected, and it will change the path over here. Drone detection is also one of the very key and important area in which a lot of research is going to be over here. But we'll discuss this particular drone detection in some other talk. Of course, the Adani Defense will hopefully discuss some of the part over here. So this is all about from my side. Now I'm ready to take the questions from your side, please.
Yeah, Dr. Rawat, thank you for the nice talk. So the participants, before we start with the questions, I just want to inform regarding the recording of the sessions. It will be available after the STTP is over, so you can get the recording of the sessions. And now if you'd like to begin the question session, so first we'll take the questions from participants who want to directly ask, and then we can go to the chat window. So I would request anybody who has any questions can directly ask now.
Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir, I'm Dr. Ashok Chauhan from BVM Engineering College, Vallabh Vidyanagar. Can we purchase the DJI drone in India, and can it be possible for NP-NT compliance?
Yeah, right now it's available. I think a few of the companies even available. I think you are from Anand, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's near to my place. Even in Ahmedabad, many companies are available where you can purchase it. But of course, you have to take the registration, and that particular companies also give the information to the DGCA. So okay. I think that the most problem is for the medium and the large drone. For the your micro, there is not a big problems. And even NP-NT devices over there, so you can directly purchase and collect it.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So my question is like how many kilometers like a drone can fly in a single go, and what are the factors that decide that?
Very good question.
Hello.
Yeah. Yours good name? Yours good name? Okay. Anyways,
Mahesh Angil.
Okay. Dr. Mahesh, the flight time is totally depend on two big factors. First is, of course, the battery, and the second is from where you are going to be flying. Our experience is like that whenever we will give the flight time from the mission planner, we can cover the more distance. Okay, the battery your efficiency or machine will be higher. But when we control with the help of transmitter, it will go slow. Generally, if you have a 10,000 mAh batteries over here, so I think 8 to 10 kilometer you can go and.
So, like, should we,
Please repeat. Voice is not
is
clear.
it putting any constraint on the design of the circuit? Is it putting any constraint on the design of the circuit? Like, should we go for some design of the circuit which are not battery hungry?
Actually,
Do
design
people do research in this area?
Yeah, of course. I think 2 or 3 session is already devoted for this particular things. Optimization of the battery uses. 2 session will be there. Actually, your path planning is very important. Okay, and the battery power. Okay, suppose your path is very straight and you are going to from the mission planner. Of course, you can optimizely use it, but some of the time it is not going to be possible. I think beyond line of sight right now we don't have the permissions over here. So beyond line of sight, when you go, you need very clear areas. Of course, if you're using the mission planner, things will be, of course, if you want to be optimized, you can optimize the BLDC motors. Okay. Then, of course, your more range, you can find it out. Lot of research can be do it. I think it's a really good open areas for the work.
And like, what is like the typical range, like in kilometers? Is it in like 100 kilometers or?
No. It's not, cannot be go for the 100 kilometers. Actually, battery have their own certain limitations. And right now, for if you go for the 100 kilometer, my always advice is that go for the fixed wings over here. In the drones, hardly 20-25 max you can go it up. Because you have to return back. One side you can go beyond. Of course, for the larger drones or the hybrid drone, if you want to go for the hundreds of kilometers, you need for the hybrid drones of very heavy batteries. Because there is a one other constant. If you increase the battery's power, your weight will be increased. Okay.
Correct.
Of course. So these things we have to be optimized.
And but my last question is like, what is the frequency at which this transmitter receiver section work?
Yeah, actually right now 2.4 gigahertz is devoted for this particular transmitter receivers over here. But you can take some other type of transmitters. Transmitter is one of the biggest constraint over here, because as the drone will move away from your transmitter, its efficiency is going to be deteriorated. So you need a very costly transmitters over here. Even 35 or 40,000 you have to be paid for take the reliable transmitter up to the 10 kilometers. So one other constant is over here. If you want to go for the long distance, you need the transmission which can handle your communication up to that particular distance also.
Right. And what is the power level which is involved in transmission and receiving section?
Right now, I have not checked the power level, but of course, it will be more than 35 dBi. Because it will goes for less than 35 dBi, your communication will not be reliable.
Okay.
And if you go for the long run, I think one ICMR have issued one expression of advertisement for the expression of interest. In that, they are interested to deliver the medicines with the help of drones. So some of the companies comes over here, but in that particular things, transmitter receiver will not be very much important. Actually, we have to be use the mission planner and path plannings over here. Okay, so that already you will give some kind of the GPS tag on that particular tag, so your drone will be drying. So if you go for the one way, of course your covering distance will be more. But if your drone is returned back to home, then of course your distance will be half.
Thank you, Dr. Rawat. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question?
Participants, are there other questions?
Yeah, I have one question. My name is Vishal. My question is regarding this geotagging. So is this feature available in Arducopter, or it's like separately developed?
It's available. Actually, it's available in over there in Mission Planner. But My suggestion is that if you're making your own applications, you can Maverick protocol, you can do your own codings over here. Geofencing already, or geotag is already available in the Autopilot. You can use that particular features.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you take the permissions, okay? You take the permission, otherwise it will be illegal.
Okay. Thank you.
One other question I have find over here: what is the weight? Generally, the drone which we have shown during the assembly over here take the weightage of around half kg, 600 grams approximate. So if you increase the weight, of course, you have to change your motor, and hexacopter you have to prefer for the more weights. Any other question, or we can close the session?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is Farid Khan from Veltech University, Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
I'm doing in swarm communication between the drones, sir.
Okay.
If you have a master and slave concept, I'm following for that swarm communication. Whether the master will be more powerful than the remaining drones, no, sir. So, what are the features we can add in that? Can you give me some suggestions for that?
I think Swarm Robotics, we have 2-3 more sessions. Dr. Jagat and one Joshi sir from IIT Bombay will discuss over here. But of course, in master and slave application, first important thing is that whether your slave is directly communicating with the masters. Am I right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. In that particular time, I don't feel much power difference will be there. But if you go for the long run operation, suppose you have to fly for half an hour, okay, or 1 hour.
Okay.
Then maybe possible that slab maybe comes down and other slabs maybe replace it. In that particular cases, you need the power. But right now, 10,000 mAh battery is sufficient for around 40-45 minutes of operations.
Oh.
I don't feel only you have to increase the battery power, and I think you have connected the Raspberry Pi and all these type of things for the communication.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think you also purchase a separate telemetries, which can help you to create the wireless LAN.
Oh, okay. Suppose if I use the Zigbee, what is that?
Pardon?
Zigbee, sir. Zigbee communication.
Zigbee is also very nice, but it is up to you. These are some controller, you have to just put it up the programmings. But the thing is that the communication should be reliable, and some kind of the coding will be there, so that
Yes,
the conflict should not be there. Right now, a lot of person is working on this Swarm Robotics. So moment when you move the multiple drones, so some practical problems we will face. Even one of my friends who is taking one session from the Adani, he's told when we work on the Swarm Robotics, some of the times even some of the drones moves in some different directions. So whenever you will demonstrate the Swarm Robotics, please take a very clean open areas.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So if there are no more questions, then we can close the session. Yeah, somebody is interested in asking question.
Yes, sir. This is Sudipto. Sudipto from Kolkata. So I have a question, sir. Any kind of simulator is there where I can check the activities of this kind of drones?
Mission Planner is also can be work as a simulator, sir. You can use it, so you can also use it all of your flights over here. But I am not believe on the simulations. When you go for the real flight, the difference is over here. But for your simplicity, you will get some brief idea your path planning. You can do it, no issue. You will get a brief idea about the flight time and all this type of thing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So if all the questions is complete, we will close the session. Any other question? Dr.
I think the questions are done, and now we can close the session. Sir, would you like to play the video for the calibration? And
yeah, I'm sharing one video for the calibration at the end of this session. Thank you very much for patiently listening.
So thank you, Dr. Rawat, for this nice and interesting talk. For all the participants, please remember this is the same link where the next session will start, and we'll be starting at 1:30. Sir, it's 1:30, I think.
It's a 1:30.
Yes. Next session starts at 1:30, and it's Dr. Lalit from Bath. So everybody can join in for the next session, and sir will play the video for the calibration now. Yeah.
Sir,
Thank
can
you,
you
sir.
please share the schedule of the whole, all the days?
Yeah, I think we'll send you the schedule of the talks today, so
Yes,
everybody
sir.
can have an idea of the schedule.
Yes, sir.
We have
Yeah.
already mailed it. Okay, but anyways, I will again send it.
I have not received, so I must say.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good morning, sir. Hello.
Who's
Please.
this?
Yes, sir. Any attendance link for the session, sir? Any particular attendance link is there?
Automatically, we will take it up, and I
Okay,
will
sir.
get
Thank
back to you if required.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, audio is not there.
This is just a video to show calibration, so
Okay.
you can
Okay.
see the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So this video is completed, so you will get the more idea about the calibration. One other thing is that we are trying to make the WhatsApp group, but number of participants is quite more, so it looks very difficult. So we are skipping the WhatsApp group. Whatever you need to communicate to me, my mail ID and mobile number is there. You can communicate to me. One other question is raised that how we will select the motor. Of course, what we have to do, we have to calculate the thrust as per the motor. So depending on the total thrust, you can calculate the things. One other things is there, if you have the more loads will be there, more than 1 kg, then what we have to do, hexacopter you have to do, and you will connect to back-to-back motors over there. So all these things is depend on the motors. You have to increase the power ratings of the BLDC motor, and then you can carry the more loads. Of course, if you are carrying the more load, the drone design will be complicated. So thank you very much for patiently listening these things. Lots of good questions also comes out. So we are taking the break. We will meet at 1:30 for the next session. Thank you very much.